and welcome everyone to the first TSBOC webinar. We call it TSBOC, the Secret Business of Coaching webinar. We're calling this one the Deep Coaching Experience. My cousin will introduce himself properly in a second because he's doing the heavy lifting tonight. My name is Rich Waterman. I've been coaching since 2006, properly for the last 4 years, as in full time. It was a hobby business before then. My cousin and I got together about a year ago, created a mastermind group called the Secret Business of Coaching, primarily to service a lady in this group, whichever I meant to point, which is Mary. And then we created a group around that to help coaches create a coaching business. But tonight is more about just demonstrating a coaching experience, but also giving you an opportunity to ask for coaching as well. So it could be about a business, it could be about personal coaching, anything really. And we're very happy to give you as much time as we can around that. But first of all, Chris will coach Deb, who's one of our mastermind group. And at the end of that, I will unpack it for everyone. So I'll say, what did I pick up in the coaching? What lessons do I think that Deb has learned? And also what we might learn? Because, you know, what I love about listening to someone else being coached is we can always learn a lot for ourselves as well. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do now is I will probably mute everyone else, including myself. And I'm going to hand over to Chris and Deb. I'll try not to mute you two. That could be very like the power of silence, I suppose, Chris.
Powerful coaching.
I'm going to shut up now, and I'm sorry. Chris, over to you, mate, and you can give yourself a bit of an intro and then talk about what you're going to do tonight with Deb.
Okay, cheers, Rich. So yeah, I'll just keep a very brief intro. So I've been, as Rich said, I've been coaching about 8 years. About 3.5 to 4 years full on. My background in terms of coaching is very much from a mindfulness perspective. So I'm a qualified mindfulness trainer, and I do bring a lot of that into the coaching. We probably won't do any meditation tonight. Time doesn't really allow for that. Yeah, deep coaching. Really deep coaching is just about inside-out coaching. Making sure that the ladder is planted against the right wall before we start progressing up that ladder. So let's start. That's enough of an intro. This is not about me tonight. This is about Debs initially. So I'll introduce Debs because she's too modest. So Debs is somebody I've known for many years. I coached her personally a few years ago. And she's also been part of TSBOC. TSBOC stands for the Secret Business of Coaching. And she's been part of the mastermind, the group that Rich and I have run for the last year. She's a hypnotherapist. She's also a supervisor in respect to hypnotherapy as well. And over recent years, she's moved from hypnotherapy, or keeping hypnotherapy as a base, but moved into coaching. So, Debs, is that a fair intro?
Yeah. I guess so.
So let me thank you first of all for agreeing to get the ball rolling tonight. There might be a few people who type in messages requesting a bit of coaching as well, and Rich will keep you up to date on that. But we'll dive in with yourself first. Thanks for that. Right, I'm guessing that you've had some thoughts about what you might want to talk about tonight.
Well, I've been racking my brains after the other night, you know, so yeah.
So you probably got some idea, but I'm curious. What would be a little edgy to lean into tonight to start off with?
Actually doing this, it's edgy enough.
So I know that you're growing your business at the moment, yeah. And you've got three clients signed up now who are paying, two paying, one on an exchange of service. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, and one tonight who's definitely going to renew. That she's confirmed tonight. Yay! So.
Well done.
Yeah. And then I've got a couple of conversations arranged as well since earlier this week. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's kind of around moving forward and sort of exploring. So chatting the other night about some of the softer stuff to do in terms of client creation, and possibly thinking about workshops. And I kind of was all thinking, great, I'm going to do it. And then I went, maybe not. So.
Do it in respect to the workshops?
Yeah, just get on with it. I think what I said to Rich was that I would, actually just do it. Don't think about it. Just approach people, get it booked, and then I'll worry about the content. And then I slept on it and went, maybe not. So, but actually that's just bonkers because I can do it. So, yeah.
So tell us about the workshop. What's that about?
Well, we were talking a bit about kind of my history, I suppose. And we got on, I can't remember how we came around, but we got onto the subject of weight. And I have struggled with it. And I kind of go, but it's never about the weight. And I've got several clients who are, particularly they're women who are, they've set up their new businesses, so startup companies, kind of my age group, and are really struggle with confidence and struggle around their weight. And they've said, actually, we'd really like to sort of, have some input about working on that side of things in relation to confidence. But of course, we know the weight is just a symptom. So I kind of have mulled over for quite a while that it might be something that would be quite interesting to do. But it's kind of, I'd have to start from no content and just, I won't say wing it, because it wouldn't be winging it, but it's kind of a space for people, and then kind of create it and let it grow and let it create. And I suppose it's about being a bit of a control freak. To kind of do that without any very clear structure is a bit scary, but actually it doesn't feel right to have too much structure. So that's kind of what's going on in my mind.
Sounds like that could be a biggie for you, Debs.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting. There's some consistent themes through all of my clients. So they're all women. I'm not exclusive. I don't go out there and go, I don't see men, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, all with new businesses, all have confidence issues that they think is related to their weight. All that keeps them small, and you just kind of go, well, I've got the t-shirt, so I can help, and that's changing for me. So
what would you tell them in respect to how it's changing for you?
Well, I think so one recent conversation was about that. No matter how you feel, you've got to get out and get moving, take action, do the things that you really are passionate about. That whole thing, take action, and then how you feel changes, and that's so true. So, so really supporting them with that, and I think that's definitely what's shifted for me. Because there's been a big shift for me in the last couple of months. So,
and so I'm picking up there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're starting to feel that the feelings are coming from taking action rather than trying to create the feelings before taking action.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm much more. Even now, my mantra in my brain tends to be, doesn't matter how I feel, get on with it, because nobody else is going to do it for me. So, so I'm definitely much more productive, and there are things that are falling away now that have been a crutch for quite a long time, and that's not the case now. And you know what I'm talking about.
I've got no idea. You care to enlighten me?
So yeah. And when I work with those people, my heart goes out to them because they're such lovely people. You can see and it's that thing, you're sort of stuck in a corner. You can see that they're just on the precipice, and they're kind of not moving forward. And well, I've been there myself, so you know, you kind of just want to help people.
I've been there myself. Oh, what fantastic language. I have to call that one out, Debs. Well done.
Yeah.
And what's next for you?
What, with the coaching? So I'm actually seeing somebody that I met through you in a mindfulness course next week, which is interesting, and out of the blue text. So that's that conversation. It's just getting out there and talking, I think.
So say that you're somebody you met on one of my mindfulness courses.
Yeah.
You're nicking my clients.
Well, you know. You haven't coached her.
I'll let you off.
I'm not sure how it's going to work, though, for various reasons, but hey, we'll see.
Any blocks showing up for you at the moment?
Do you know, one of the scariest, well, it's not, is it scary? The thing that I'm mulling over the most, and I know that I have got to take my head out of the sand, is managing my finances from a business perspective. That's quite, it's not that I know what to do, I'm just not doing it.
Can you unpack that a bit, managing your finances from a business perspective?
Well, so I have my other job, and then I did forget to mention to people that you're an expert on startup businesses as well, having worked in several. I wouldn't call myself an expert.
I did say you're modest as well. So managing your finances from a business perspective.
Yeah, I know that. So what I think one of the big things is, you know, if coaching is my is what I want to be doing full time, and we talked. I did discuss this the other night, in terms of getting to a certain level where I feel that I could walk away from my job. So I've kind of put a figure on that, but I also know part of that is I need to really get a handle on sorting out, you know, it's just sorting out taxes and all that kind of thing. And I know exactly what to do. I think I'm just burying my head. I think it just comes a lot of it from last year. So for any guys, I got made redundant last year with like a week's notice. So I think I'm still kind of going, oh, I don't quite want to deal with all that yet. But that is holding me back.
Not putting those things in place. I mean, like sorting out tax and stuff.
Well, not putting in place. So it's sapping my energy because I'm thinking about it a lot and I'm worrying about it. And also there's an element of that makes me go, well, I don't want to earn too much money because then I don't have to worry about it so much, which is bullshit because I want to earn lots of money. So you see what I mean?
Yeah. What will that money give you?
Sorry, I'm just reading Pete's comment.
Yeah, Peter's distracted.
Pete. I know a few. I've got one, I just don't want to use them at the moment. Sorry, what was your question?
So my question was, you said you want to earn lots of money, and I got the energy with that actually.
Yeah.
But why? What's that going to give you access to that you feel that you currently don't have access to?
So I want to say peace of mind, but I know that you can have peace of mind, you know, people with absolutely no money can have peace of mind. So I know that's kind of bullshit as well, really. I think it's freedom. It's freedom, freedom to be more flexible in the way I live. Yeah, and kind of it's the illusion of financial security, isn't it? Because as much as we can ever have financial security, so it's freedom, really, in a practical kind of a way. Because I kind of think, oh well, you know,
freedom for yourself or freedom for others?
Both. Both, I think. Because I kind of go, if you have sort all the finances out, earn good money, and then I can actually, I have a picture of myself going along, you know, I'm just like out in the world helping people. I don't have to worry about money. It's great. So I'd rather be doing that.
Maybe you could create the money from that space of out in the world helping people, not worrying about money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much? You mentioned that you need an amount to make the jump. How much would it cost to buy back a day?
Oh God, we worked that out the other day. I think it was 150 quid. It's not much. Not much at all. And actually, and the annual salary initially was 50, which is, you know, that's very doable. So yeah, that feels that's not very far away.
So that's annual salary from coaching. That 50 grand would give you the certainty that you feel you need to make the transition. Yeah.
Some consistent months. But then the other thing is, I enjoy what I do most of the time. Although when things aren't moving forward, I get really bored. But when things are moving forward, I like working in that environment. I think it complements the coaching. And I'm always learning. The startup environment, you learn loads, and you meet loads of new people, you know, as you grow in your business. So I really enjoy that.
Sounds like it could be a good job on the side.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how does the 50 break down? How does that look?
We started. I worked out if I need. Basically, at the moment, I've got the capacity to see 6 people a week. So 12 clients to alternate. Yeah.
12 clients based on a fortnightly point of contact.
Yes. Yeah. Because of the hours I work, so that would have to be on a Saturday and one other day and 2 evenings. Which actually I pretty much do that on 1 week. So I've just finished with someone now. So,
So 12 people at 4 to 5 grand then?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So not quite there yet. So the plan is to fill the slots up first, like for both weeks, not just for 1 and a bit week.
Is it 12 people at 4 to 5 grand?
Can't do maths at this time of night.
No, that's one option. That is one option. If you want 12. You could have less and more.
Oh yeah, well, in the long term, but I think to be, I'm going to put my prices up now for any new clients. That's done. I think I'm still stepping up there, I think. And maybe it'll take another 6 months to get where I'm really, where I go, yeah, actually that's really fine. Maybe not that long, we'll see. 3 to 6 months. I kind of see 2 steps from where I am now.
And the long-term view, if I speak to you in 5 years' time?
I'll be flying then. I'll be an international speaker, Rich.
Fly in then. Did you fly now? Are you flying now?
Yeah,
Get the
yeah,
sense you are.
yeah. Yeah, well, I just finished with my client before we came on, and you kind of go, "Oh my God, where's the last 2 hours gone?" And I've been
Yeah,
up since like 4:30 this morning, and and I feel fine. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. You just want to carry on doing more of it, really.
yeah. Yeah, I can see the energy. It's great to see the energy in your eyes.
Mm,
And to see how the spark increases with each further person that you serve. The money's the silent applause for the job well done, as they say.
mm,
But the spark is great to see.
mm.
Yeah,
The
well
money's
done,
not the
Dad.
main motivator, so
Mm.
I mean, you kind of you want to paid well for doing a job, but it's not the number one. I couldn't do it if I didn't love doing it. So yeah.
And I bet your clients love you now that you are doing it.
Some more than others.
Well, the ones that do will become your clients in the future as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the one who's just gone, she's only 26, but she'll be a millionaire by the end of next year, and she will. She will, I'm absolutely sure. And yeah.
Sounds like a good peer group to
Yeah.
have as a client.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else tonight, Debs? Anything
Um,
else?
no, I don't think so, because no, I'm pretty clear about what I need to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, I am. So,
And yeah, I'm sensing that.
hmm.
I'm guessing you probably got an action that you know that you're going to do tomorrow as well.
Well, my action tomorrow is I got another client tomorrow night. That's my swapping one. And what else am I doing? Oh, might have to just put a post out about the workshop thing and say, actually, because what I thought was if I put a post out now about it and say it starts in the new year, there'll be 6 spaces. If you're interested, get in touch, and then I'll take it from there.
What date in the new year? I didn't quite catch it.
It'll be the 8th of January, or the first weekend, actually, the one after.
8th of January.
8th is a Monday, so it'll have to be the following weekend. It'll have to be weekend.
Okay, so let me just get my
You're gonna help me
diary.
with that, aren't you?
I'd never do that, Debs,
Yeah, you would.
because the people I coach hold themselves to their goals.
Yes. Yes.
So we've got Saturday, what a great day, 13th.
Yes. There we are then. Thank
Saturday
you.
13th.
Yes.
And it's, what's that going to be? A day event? Half day?
I think a bit more than a half day, because it's a bit of a trek to get to my house for people. I think kind of like a 10 o'clock start, and maybe with lunch, and then finish around 2:30, 3, something like that. Yeah, I'm quite prepared to sort of be flexible on that, really.
So
Although
you're
that does kind of bugger up the whole day, doesn't it? So,
13th of Jan, your house, don't worry, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
anyone's invited.
And numbers?
Numbers. Oh, no
Numbers?
more than 6. No more than 6. Yeah, 6 max.
6 max. Fee?
Mm.
The cost? The fee? The investment?
Ooh, I'm going to think about that some more. We did kind of talk about a third of the price of a package. So at the yeah, maybe I was thinking I don't want to charge a lot because it's the first one. So even if it was say 70 quid or something for maybe 6 sessions, I know that sounds, it doesn't sound much, but I don't want it to be much for the first one because I want to learn from it.
Okay, so this is going to be a full-on course of multi-sessions right from the off. Okay?
Yeah, I think so. I think I want people to have some space and just to see what emerges from it.
Okay, I'll leave you set with the
Yeah.
fee.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't
And
sound not much.
name?
It's not much, but
The name?
oh, no, the name. We got as far as it's not about the weight, is it?
Sounds
But
great.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. To come up with something
Okay.
snappier
So-
than that.
Do you?
Hmm?
Do
No,
you?
not really. No. I could say something really rude, but I won't, as I don't know the rest of these people at the moment.
It's not about the weight, is it? I love it.
Val, you've got Rich to thank for that. Thanks, Rich.
Well, he shows promise. Well done, Debs.
Thank you.
Well done. Yeah, thank you. So I think it's a good place. I think we're done there.
Yeah, yeah.
We're done. With the fee, I won't let you off the hook with. What would be scary with the fee?
What, for the course?
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm just thinking about some of the people who've said that they want to come, what they would pay. What would be scary? 500 quid would probably be scary.
What they would pay?
Yeah.
What if you were to ask yourself what you're worth?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, if you give him pretty much the best part of it, it would be the best part of a day if I do it that way.
Mm. 6 days.
Yeah, I was thinking 600 or maybe 5. Well, maybe 5.
Cool.
Okay.
Go to it. I'll check for the post. You can stick it on Facebook.
What, on
Tag
my
me.
general Facebook page?
Yeah.
That's, now I'm squirming.
Oh, are you?
I am, because that's people, I don't post things on my general Facebook page.
Yet?
So that says something.
So would that be the edgy thing to do?
Oh, yes. Very. That's putting myself out there with my close friends and ex-colleagues, and yeah.
People who might come. Or might know people.
No, it's not about people that might come. It's more, that for me is more about people that know me really well, and in my brain is saying, and that they'll be thinking, well, who's she to be bloody doing this kind of work? What qualifications has she got? Which is rubbish. So. Okay, I'll do it.
Do you want to?
It's not much that I want to. I think it's what I need to do.
Good catch.
That's different. Yeah.
Good catch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good catch.
What
would posting that allow you to be?
Me. Just to be me, isn't it? Yeah, just to put myself out there.
Yeah.
And actually, my close friends know me anyway. They know, so it doesn't really matter about anyone else.
Cool. So you can tag me then?
I can what? Tag you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay then.
We'll do lessons in tagging after the call.
Oh, God. I've had enough of IT today at work, I tell you.
Just type my name and it'll come up as blue, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Well done, Debs. Yeah,
Cheers.
cool. Look forward to the post.
Okay.
Well done. Yeah, and thanks for playing tonight. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well done.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, enjoyed that. Right, so I think the key here is I just want to show you different styles of coaching as well. So you notice with Chris, he spent a lot of time in silence. He knows Deb very well, obviously, so he knows that certain patterns and things will show up for us. So actually sitting in silence is what serves her, because sometimes as coaches we kind of want to speak over the top of things, but actually when she has insights, often I think just being quiet is the best way. To give you a bit of background, actually, so I had a coaching session with Deb a few days ago, and we were just trying to work out the puzzle of you know what, how can she have a better relationship with the job, almost like not have to do the job. And we were just working out the numbers, the logistics, having a clear target for her to move towards, really. And that's sort of obviously been developing throughout tonight. And what I'm seeing in the unpacking, I've got about how many, nearly 3.5, 4 sides of A4 notes, which I'll whiz through now. Certain things showed up. So Chris knows Deb well. I think when I start a coaching conversation, you know what, talk about being edgy. Do you want to be edgy? Because you know what, we know that Deb likes a bit of a challenge, and we're not here for a chat. We're here for a powerful conversation. So Chris used words like "I'm curious." So curious is a great what's called Milton modern language. It's hypnotic language, which opens up possibility. He asked Deb to check for reality. What was her current situation? She talked about this weight workshop, and he was unpacking how might this work, how to do it. So getting clarity on the vision, so that the brain's got a clear target to move towards. And then he hit straight into the purpose and the why, which sounds like that could be a biggie for you, Debs. So really connecting her emotionally to that outcome. And then bringing it back personally to her. So she was talking about the journey she wanted these clients to have, but what's going on with you, Deb, the transformation that she's having, again, making it even more personal, even stronger reason that, a lot of us coach and speak and mentor because, it's stuff that we need to do for ourselves as well as serving others. So that was powerful. He hit on the key point really that often comes up with our clients, was that, just checking back with her that the feelings come from taking action. And Deb, reiterating, no one else is doing this for me. I've learned, basically it's about acting despite how I'm feeling. And that shows up a lot with our clients, particularly clients of mine and Chris's that are procrastinating or struggling to take action, is they're often looking to feel right before they take action. And actually one of the big things is understanding that, Chris and I don't always feel great about the stuff we're doing, but we just act anyway. So that was great to hear that being reflected back, because it's something we've been chipping into the group on a long basis. Questions like, care to enlighten me about that, Debs? I've been there myself, so coming down to that equal posture and almost going inferior about, I've gone through that too. Moving on, what's next for you? Brought in some humour to lighten things up. Oh, you're nicking my clients. It's all right, Deb, you know what? High quality service, right? And then testing for where there's resistance or interference. So any blocks showing up at the moment. And he did that in a period when the energy was quite light and humorous. So, that's quite a nice time to go in there with any blocks showing up at the moment, because you know what, you're probably more likely to think about what the blocks are, but actually think about solutions from that place rather than things being down and flat. Should we talk about business finance? Chris was asked for clarity on the business finances. He called her out on the modesty stuff, but in a very subtle way. And he said, one thing I didn't say about Deb was she's modest as well. So that's a very subtle way of challenging her around being modest to the point of almost self-sabotage. But he did it in a very, very subtle way, saying, oh, and she's modest too as well, basically. Going back to clarity on what our targets are, we identified this kind of redundancy hangover thing. And that was holding her back, sapping her energy. One interesting thing that showed up was, do I keep my income small, because then my taxes are simpler. And I was having a chat with Peter, who's on tonight, he's a great accountant, by the way. Give me another plug, mate. One of the things I was in a situation with my divorce and my ex-wife, and I knew she'd come after me if I was paying out or making more money. So for quite a number of time, I was kind of keeping a lid on my finances, and it's interesting how that can do that. We can have this self-sabotaging going on. She called herself out on that. I don't want to earn money because it keeps my tax simple. That's bullshit. So Chris gave her the space to actually call herself out on that. Sometimes as coaches, we wait to see, what your reaction to a statement that you've made is, and she called herself out on that, which is fantastic. What would money create for you and why? Yeah, well, Christian, we'll ask Deb what she got out of the session in a minute. Yeah, great question. What would money create for you? Why? What would that give you access to? A lot of statements around freedom, flexibility, financial security, freedom. Clarification, freedom for self or others. It's about creating space for self. How much do you need to make the jump? how much to buy back a day, 150 quid, 50k to leave the job. I actually like elements of my job. Okay, we can have the job on the side. So you can have everything. You're looking for consistency with the outlet. Is the goal consistent with what her true values and beliefs are? How does a 50k break down? So again, making it more practical. Could have 12 clients, 6 a week. That's 12 at 4 to 5 grand was a question. My plan is to fill the slots, then evolve up. Do you actually want 12? Introducing the possibility you could have less clients and paying you more. And then Deb came back with what her plan was, the raising every 3 months, 6 months. Asked her about the long-term view, you know, what's the long-term pull? 3 to 5 years, oh, I'll be flying then. Are you flying now? Which is a great challenge as well, right? And she admitted that she is, you know, compared to when I first met Deb, she is flying. It's like, you know, money, a silent applause for the job well done. Money's not my main motivation. I must love doing it. So again, that must be part of the plan. I bet clients love you now you're doing it. And she talked about a client who's going to become a millionaire with Deb's coaching, obviously. Good peer group, that Deb. So what's the action you're going to do tomorrow as well? Getting the post out. When's the workshop? What date in the year? Specifics, yeah? If it's specific, it's actionable. Get it. I'll get it. Chris got his diary out. People I coach actually hold themselves to goals. He asked about the event. Was it a day, half day, the times? What fee are you going to? Oh, I'm going to think about that. And sometimes actually that's not a bad thing, actually. And you don't always want to back someone into a corner, but give them space to think about it. I don't want to charge a lot, she says. That's the first one. I want to learn from it, which is fine. It's true and not true, right? It's not about the weight, is it? Quite like that as a title, given that I helped Deb come up with that, so that's pretty clever. What would be scary? Great question. What they would pay, or what are you worth? I'm going to check for the post tomorrow. Yeah, accountability again. Came back to the fact that posting on her page was edgy because of what would her friends think of her, people who know me well. And there's probably more unpacking to do there. You know, if we wanted to do a longer session, which was, you know, surely the people close to Deb who know her, like me and Chris do, know she's worth whatever money she wants to charge. But there's some more work to be done there around that. And she said, oh, people know me well, might judge me, oh, what's she done? And then Chris waited and she said, which is rubbish. So again, you corrected yourself again. A lot of silence. He used a lot of silence there because he knew that she was unpacking it. And Chris said, do you want to do this? And she said, I need to. So, yeah, let Deb, if you talk about, I'd love to hear, Christian's asking about what did you get out of the experience from coaching? And then Christian's also asked Chris, what did you get out of the session? You know, what was the goal of Chris to get out of the session from your perspective? He says from the preparation side. So we start, Deb, you want to chip in about what you got out of that? And then Chris, I'd love to get your input and also a bit about your prep and what you were looking to get out of the session. Over to you, Deb. This is where you say, I got something out of the session rather than that was 30 minutes of...
Yeah, don't you know, Peaky Blinders starts tonight, for God's sake. What's the matter with you? For heaven's sake.
Okay, we're going to finish now because Peaky Blinders is starting. Right, anyway. Some of our friends from outside the UK are going, what's Peaky Blinders? We'll send a link now, aren't we? But anyway, sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, so I kind of was, because obviously we'd had a session earlier in the week, I was kind of thinking, God, what am I going to talk about? So I think what I got out of it was some more clarity about what I'm going to do. And actually, when I think about it, I was thinking about some of the questions that I ask my clients, and I think, do you know what? Yeah, I'm pretty good actually. So, you know, yeah. So you kind of go, But I think that the big thing is that posting it on my general Facebook page. That's the big thing, because that makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. So that's the thing I know I've got to do.
Yeah.
So thanks, Chris.
So that was leading into your edge, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, we could have got there in the first 2 minutes, Debs. Save it right for the end. Yeah, I could sense that. And if I'd had longer with you. So for people listening, I would normally do 2.5 hour sessions with people. That's pretty standard for me. And the reason I love that length of session is because there's so much that shows up in the second half of that session, just not every time, but consistently. So that doesn't surprise me that came out, towards the latter part of the conversation.
Christian was asking, what was the goal of Chris to get out of the session from his preparation side?
No goal, really. Not quite clear on the question, but in terms of preparation, all I prepared was I gave some thoughts about an opening question, and that was it. So no other preparation other than that. Obviously, I do know Debs well, which can help and can't help sometimes. So I don't know if there's any more Christian wants to type about that or come on live.
Yeah, I'd have to unmute him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think while we're sort of waiting for that, it's like I make a distinction there. So most of my sessions are probably between 1 and 2 hours, and there's no right or wrong way of coaching. My way is I tend to be more of a mentoring, kind of dropping content, stories, concepts into a conversation, because I tend to coach business owners on business strategy more so maybe than personal coaching, although it does come in. Chris is more what I call a pure coach, and so it's finding what's right for you. And so Christian, I might have more of an intention to a session, which might be like, so if I carried on from what I did with Debs a few days ago, I'd know that we've got some plans in place for creating these number of clients, and I'd say, okay, so how are things going towards the plan? What else do we need to put in place? What specifically are you going to do to create that? So I might have had some more ideas about where I wanted to explore. Whereas we literally called it deep coaching. It's the reason why we've got Chris to do the session rather than me, is that he's probably more of a pure coach than I am, whereas I tend to be more in the coach mentor space a little bit, although we do move around. But you're unmuted, Christian, if you've got anything else you want to say.
Oh, good. Thanks. Hi, guys.
Hey, Christian, good to have you on board, buddy. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Yeah,
I thought it was fascinating because it was a complete different style as I used to do myself. So this is why I'm asking these questions of course, having this. What I liked actually to have a little low energy as a coach, to see where it goes on one way or another. I'm not sure about it yet. I will test it myself as well.
Yeah, and this is the key, is like, do you know what, as a client, look at different coaches and their different styles. And so I get coached by Chris, and I quite like having that space, that deep space, and actually him not having a desired outcome. So he's waiting for, as you put there, Christian, in your comment, what's Deb bringing to the session. I think Peter's typed in as well that, client-led sessions. I tend to do a bit of both, if I'm honest. Hi, Ash, good to have you on here. You got a good excuse for doing the coaching session yourself. And Mary's talking about, questions arising with what's unfolding. So that makes sense. Christian, while I got you unmuted, I know you put a couple of questions in the group. So obviously I've done the third one you put in, which what's the tactics and strategy, or at least that was me just scribbling down loads of notes to what Chris is doing. Obviously you've got an idea what Chris's style is, but hopefully that was useful to see my understanding of what Chris was looking to achieve. You're talking about one-to-one coaching. So I guess I'm aware that you put in, one-to-one coaching, how to deal with energy management, one-to-one coaching, can potentially be draining. And my instinct is, and I'll be honest with you, is I tend to say, yeah, I'd agree with that. But I'm interested, what are your reference points for that in terms of, asking the question?
It's more that I stopped one-on-one coaching, or actually I got really picky in one-to-one coaching, only to do one-on-one coaching with peak performers, or only to do it with top talents who are really visionaries, who are working to a goal, and they're already pleasure motivated towards a goal. So there is a joy or a enthusiasm behind it, and that they feel an obstacle in the middle, and that I will support them to get over this obstacle or get around this obstacle. So that there's a different energy. Because I see a lot of coachings, and maybe Chris can reflect on this as well, because he has this low energy during this session, this mindfulness energy, which I think is really cool because it triggers a different emotion. On the other hand, I think like, you know, I'm not able to do it because when I do it, I really feel drained out of my energy, and I cannot let my own energy flow, as you can hear already.
Yeah. So what I would say on that, Christian,
Chris.
the coaching style does tend to be predominantly that style, but also energy changes as well, depending on the client you're working with. So, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But it's more that when I'm doing this, because I've done a few one-on-one coachings and it was so interesting to do. But what I find out is when you have 3 clients a day of 3 hours, or let's say 3-4 hours of one-on-one coaching a day, it's hard work. And it's not only hard work with thinking, but it's hard work with maintaining your own energy, because most of the time when you're a coach, yeah, you're a little bit the dustbin of all the emotions and all the shit that people are collecting during the week. And then in that 1 hour, you get it all back to them of what's in between. And what I liked actually about this session as well, what we did see was, it started low energy, and then it was about, oh, you're flying, and then the energy changed a lot, and you see like, hey, hang on, this was not a real, or it was not a playful coaching. A few bits were, and I was like, do you really like coaching actually at the start? And then when it started, you know, is this a must be or a must do, or is this are you doing it to pay your rent? Or
Yeah. I think what I would say to that, Christian, is, you need to be, for me, it's really important. You're starting out as a coach, you don't really necessarily know who you want to coach or you want to coach them on. You just want to help them and coach people. And I think it's, as for coaches starting out, I would say, be broad, experience coaching different types of people. What I found over the years is I tend to gravitate towards certain clients and ones that actually, when I come off the session with them, they actually have energized me rather than de-energized me. And sometimes you get some stuff flying around that isn't so good. And maybe we'll talk about that in the webinar next week, about kind of deflecting or shedding negative energy if you're in a coach. But I would probably my target in a day is about 4 hours of coaching. The other day I did 7, and that was probably pushing it a little bit for me. But you've got to find, right client for you generally will be energizing, and you can do a fair amount of coaching, but you're just aware that, if you do a lot of one-to-one coaching, it's it's a time for money exchange from a business perspective. Mm-hmm. But it can be a very good time for money exchange. And you got to find your sweet spot. I've got a friend of mine, Tim Downs, who's a fantastic corporate coach, real inspiration to me. He can quite easily coach 6-7 hours a day on a regular basis. He has a very sort of like a structure that he takes people through. So maybe that might be an easier thing for him to do because he's doing fairly predictable things.
But it's coaching, I think it's easier because with business coaching, you're always more into a different environment, or, it's not about personal blockages or personal obstacles.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's more, different emotions.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just looking at some of the comments now. So, like, Christine's saying coaching energizes me, same here. Then Dan's saying he loves 7-hour coaching days. So I guess for me, it's like I'm a bit of a variety addict. So I have other things that I do as well as one-to-one coaching. Mm-hmm. Dan, I think that's fantastic. You're going to create a great income stream from doing 7-hour coaching days. And for some people, it's just like they'll crank it out. And if you've got the right clients, you'll get some great results that way. So, yeah, it's a great question, Christian. It's just, you got to kind of find the sweet spot for you, and that sweet spot might be none. It might be group coaching, it might be seminars, it might be workshops. You've got great energy, so a lot of stuff that you're doing.
Is more my thing.
Yeah, and I get that. You're really good with communities, very good at accountability, and so that makes perfect sense. Of some people, they don't want to do the group stuff, so. If you get successful at one-to-one coaching, you will start to get to a point where you'll peak out compared to what you perceive your maximum to be.
Because I love to do the one-on-one interventions in group coaching.
Yeah.
that's where my sweet spot really is, because I think it's exciting to see how a pattern of some individual can be an inspiration for group coaching, and actually challenge me more of myself as well. You really have to do this whole brain thinking yourself while coaching. You really have to adapt your style and to do a lot of calculations while coaching and training.
Yeah, and that does become unconscious, I think, after a while. But yeah, you're absolutely right. So I'm just looking at some of the other comments. Peter was saying, don't like to coach more than 2 clients a day, max to 2 hours a session. That's pretty much the same as me. Mary saying, yeah, mindfulness, she likes to have breaks between clients to refresh. Dan's, Dan, do you mind me sharing those? No, I typed it into public chat. So yeah, so Dan's saying, Graham, I practice, I'm playing to earn 60 grand in 3 months. That's fantastic, mate. So I'm not stopping at anything. A lot of this coaching is complimentary coaching. I'm on target. Well done, buddy.
We've got a couple of questions from Annalise as well earlier on.
Yeah, I've written those down, Chris. So I think particularly the mindfulness one which was how to cultivate mindfulness on a moment to moment, how to have an exponential growth without burning out. I think that probably was something I'd love to hear your input on, Chris. Do you want me to unmute Annalise? I'm just going to mute just so we get sort of cleanliness of audio. Christian, I'll just mute you back again, and then Annalise, if you don't have to say anything, but you're unmuted if you want to.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. So Chris, do you want to repeat that question again? So it's basically how to cultivate mindfulness on a moment to moment, how to have an exponential growth without burning out. That's right up your street, mate, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so mindfulness on a moment to moment basis. What I find is that the body is a great door into the present moment. So when I connect with, so when I'm coaching, I keep quite a percent of my awareness in my body. That helps me sense kind of what's going on for the other person as well. I'm not in the present moment, because when I'm connected with my senses, with what's going on in the body, then by definition I'm connected with the present moment. So that helps a lot. Rich Litvin talks a little bit about that in the Prosperous Coach. He says keep a certain percentage of your awareness in your body. So that's really what he's referring to there. In terms of the exponential growth without burning out, what about that one, Annalise? What do you mean by that?
So how do you maximize, like, for example, you could go out there and there was a lady at the intensive that said she was completely burnt out. She was doing all these complementary sessions and, she was completely exhausted. And I could go out there, and do 10 complementary sessions a day, that's for sure. But apart from the fact that my business is growing as a portfolio business rather than just pure one-to-one. Well, one-to-one coaching is a big part of it, but it's not the only one. And that's why there is another question that I've added. But it's quite difficult to sort of just say, okay, I'm going out there, I have 10 hours of complementary coaching, or like 5 hours of normal coaching, and then you've got to keep sort of like cultivating the clients, because as a coach, what you want to be, if you do a good job, you want to be redundant. You don't want your clients to keep coming back. Although I do have clients.
That depends if you think they're complete.
You don't want them, you don't want to be one of those psychiatrists that gets people sort of like on the hook forever. You just want to do a good job so that then, they can go and do it by themselves. Obviously, then they come back if they've got different issues, right? All of a sudden, the business is like crazy and they want you, or all of a sudden they feel they want to change profession and so they come back. But essentially you need to keep sort of like meeting people and giving these sessions, and together with, for me, I'm starting to give mastermind and group coaching to women, planning some retreat in my home country, leadership retreat, and actually also being approached to do training in corporate. So it's a lot of things at the moment that I've got on my, and how do I sort of like what priority do I give? And yes, there is a bit of like destiny there, you know, what's meant to be, it's meant to be, but you need to steer it a little bit as well. So I just, you know, and also, as you know, there's so many of these that are blind, sort of like alleys. So you go at the end of it and you spend, I don't know, 4 months, and then there is nothing coming out of it. So, I mean, is it a question of really connecting to yourself and really understanding intuitively what's best? Or it's a question of dedicating, okay, just dedicate a bit of everything to them? Because, for example, at the moment, because of all these other things that are coming out in my life, in my sort of like ideal business scenario, I'm not doing as many chemistry sessions as I could. Also because of, as you know, Chris, my studying positive psychology, and 2 kids, and so on and so forth. And plan also on expansion, you know, into Italy, like where positive psychology and coaching are not very, you know, they haven't even started, let alone to reach their potential. So there was so many ideas and then so many things on my plate, and I just sometimes think, do I connect inside me and just hear my intuition? Do I give, you know, where is the exponential growth? Where is, well, you know, that's it. You're frozen. Was that so scary? You're frozen. Was that so scary?
I never know sometimes, Annalisa, whether Chris is being deep and powerful and pausing, or whether his internet's mucked up, but I think he was being deep and powerful.
To be honest, I can't be scared because he froze on my screen like this, and I'm like, what have I said? I know his gaze at some point when he stops and gazes you, and you're like,
yeah, exactly. I'm actually gonna answer your prioritization question in a second, Annalisa. And for me, the biggest shift that I made in my coaching business was I wrote the word simplify on my board. It's still up there, actually. And so I'm always looking to keep what I do as simple as possible. My coaching business is basically about 5 different things that I can choose to do at any one moment. But the reason I love working with Chris and a mastermind group as a sort of co-host of that is he always has other perspectives and other flavors to it. So I'm gonna pass that over to him now. But I'll answer your prioritization question in a second. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Just a couple
hello.
things came up. The first one around working with a client, then they might come to a natural conclusion there. But my view is that there's always a next level. There's always a next level in terms of growth. And it's not always that the client wants to carry on working with you, but also we shouldn't close ourselves down to thinking that that isn't a possibility either. So keep it very open and light there, which is very, very different to the very good example you gave of kind of psychologists keeping people in loops, for example. It's very different. The thing about prioritization, you choose. You choose. And it might be that you do need to take a little bit of time out and slow down. I kind of got a hint of that from when you were talking, just with the energy and the speed which you were talking. It might be useful for you to take a bit of space and just, as you suggest, connect with yourself. Find out what your zone of genius is. What is the one thing that Annalise Pester does in this world that you know you're just better than 99% of other people working in this field? What area? Where is your zone of genius? And often a good way to find out about that is to look back and think about all of your past experiences and what really lit you up the most. What really
all of them.
Lit you up?
All of them.
Well, then you just choose them. If they're equal, then you just choose. And in terms of
do like, I can also, choose to do, sort of like 25, 25, 25, and 25%.
You could do. Yeah, I've got so I do one-to-one coaching, as you know, and I co-lead the Secret Business of Coaching Mastermind group with Rich. So that's a group program. There's a few members online tonight here. And I also do mindfulness training for corporates as well.
Yeah.
So those are my main 3 areas. So yeah, you can do that, but it's the one-to-one coaching that is the thing that really lights me up more than anything else. And I've come to realize that over time, actually. So I think it is a case, as you say, of nudging these things forwards and with practice, because coaching is an apprenticeship by fundamentally an apprenticeship approach. You have to work with material. The reason Deb is lighting up on this call tonight is because now she has material to use her tools with, material being her live paying clients. So just get in the mix there, get in the mix, coach, or get in the mix and train, or whatever it is for you. Use the tools, and what is your zone of genius will become evident to you over time. So yeah, sounds like a good plan. 25%.
Yeah.
So I'll share my perspective as well, and Lisa. So went into coaching full time 4 years ago. And it was actually at the time I was being mentored and coached by David Taylor, who's a good friend and fellow Tony Robbins trainer. And he identified that, he kind of felt quite strongly that coaching wasn't the only thing I wanted to do. And we did a session whereby he said, right, you've got a couple of minutes, see how many different ways you can legitimately come up that you could make proper money. And I came up with 23. And he went, oh, that's great. That's 23 ways not to make money. Because it'd be a bit like getting, I do a speech on stage where I have loads of glasses out on stage and I have a jug of water and I'm going, okay, I've got 20 glasses and I'm putting a bit into each one. And, I've got a little bit in each one like I have here. And, what does that get me? If I did 23 websites, put all my effort into 23 websites, I probably wouldn't complete any of them. And so I wouldn't be able to earn any revenue from any of them. So he encouraged me gently / strongly to make a decision or make some decisions. And he actually very generously allowed me to, he said, I think you probably need to get that down to definitely 5 or less. And interestingly now, I've got 3 things. I've got a coach, a mentor, and I speak. That's it.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do is share with you.
I feel better for you sharing this. Thank you, because I'm not at 23. I think I probably have so the coaching, the group coaching, the training, speaking, and retreat. So 5. So I'm in the limit.
Yeah. So you're going to create exactly what you want much faster than I did. And
thanks to you, but the tip of the 5. I'm not going to go any further. I'm not going to do any sort of water rafting and coaching together with climbing the mountains and coaching.
I'll tell you what, it sounds like fun though, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. It's amazing. I wanted to do it, but I'm stopping at 5. Definitely.
Yeah. It's one of the curses of being highly creative, because you can create lots of different possibilities. So what I'm very clear on is what comes first, like what has priority. And so currently for me, actually mentoring has priority. So I'm basically focusing me and Chris with the group is we're mentoring coaches to create coaching businesses, and that's my main focus, is taking on apprentices to mentor them to create businesses. And then coaching and speaking come after that. So the way that I did it was I created something, and someone's going to know the call. Eventually I'm going to say this enough times, someone's going to say, oh, I recognize that strategy. But as far as I know, I invented it. And I call it a decision matrix. And this is where I go all mentoring on people. So Chris is the pure coach. I'm a bit more mentoring. So I don't know if people can see that. In essence, what I've got is, and I don't know, hopefully it's the right way around, I basically put all my different options in rows. So I'll write down what so this could be mentoring, coaching, speaking, could be network marketing, could be other businesses that I had, property, so on and so forth, okay? Now, I'll talk through different evolutions of this. So what I used to do, I put the cost across the top was, I used to put the 6 human needs, so Tony Robbins' 6 human needs across the top. So that's certainty, variety, love and connection, significance, growth and contribution. And I would literally take each option and I would tick which of those needs it met, and I'd see which one had a lot of ticks to guide me to what might take priority. Then I thought, right, well, you know what, I've been to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, and in Date with Destiny, what we do is, you know, human needs really, the 6 human needs are really values, emotions that we feel strongly about. So actually what I started to put up here instead were emotions that are important to me. So in my case, some of those are fun. I love team. I love contribution. I love growth. So I'd write those across the top. So basically, emotions that are very important to me. And again, I went across and just ticked the ones and see which had the most ticks. And that was pretty good. And then I evolved it even further. And I'll write on the bit of paper how I evolved it further. I went through each value that I had, each emotion that I had, and I started to give it a weighting. So, for example, my value 1, for example, would be fun. So it's really important for me to have fun. So I'm going to give it a maximum score of 20 in this case. And I might have another one, which might be contribution. So that might have a maximum score of 20 as well. But something like teamwork might be strong, but not as strong. So it gets a maximum score of 15. And whatever this one might be has a maximum score of 10. And then literally, instinctively, without pausing, I'll take each option, which might be mentoring, and I go, how much fun out of 20 does it give me? How much contribution out of 20 does it give me? How much teamwork does it give me out of 15? How much whatever does it give me out of 10? And so I'm actually weighting the decision more heavily towards the emotions that are important to me. And then it's very simple then. I just add up the scores, and the one with the most score is the winner, is the priority. Okay. Now, what's really interesting is it's a bit like saying, what do you want to do, A or B? Toss a coin. And A is heads, B is tails. You toss the coin and it comes down. Yeah. Sorry, was that Chris?
That's quicker.
Yeah, it is quicker, but it only works for 2 things.
Yeah, true.
And plus the fact that you can't pattern the decision matrix. You can't pattern the coin toss, but you can pattern that. It's a bit like tossing a coin. It comes down tails, and you think, oh, that means I've got to, you know, focus on one-to-one coaching. And then suddenly you go, oh, actually, I wanted it to be a head. So you might do all of this and say, oh, option 1's the winner. And you go, I don't want option 1 to be the winner. I want option 2 to be the winner. That means that you've either not got the weightings right on these columns, or maybe there's some columns that you've missed, and you need to go back and redo it until the option that you want comes out top, and then you've actually evolved what I call your template, your blueprint. And Chris said, yeah, you can do it quicker, you flip a coin. But you know, for me, because I'm quite mathematical and analytical, I quite liked having all of them written out and going, yeah, that one got the most score, so that's definitely the one that I'm prioritizing. So hopefully that was useful.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I mean, it's a great matrix for any decision, really. Like you put your values, or like if you know, like I'm a certified strength practitioner from CAP, the Center for Applied Positive Psychology, and my first realized strength is growth, and the second is curiosity. So for you is fun. I don't know, maybe it could be like and then unrealized, which means I don't use it enough. It's legacy and innovation. So
that's an interesting one.
In the matrix, and thinking, you know, which one, you know, obviously I've got to do it even more than growth, because growth tends to be something that I can overuse, where legacy is something that I want, but I'm not using it enough. So that could, you know, could also work in relation to the strength profile. Yeah, interesting, actually. You gave me an idea to use with clients, to do the strength profile, which I usually do when I start coaching them, and then insert, the matrix for brainstorming, not necessarily reflections, decisions, but reflections and insight. Thank you.
You're welcome. No charge for great coaching tools. Great. And it's interesting to talk about legacy and innovation. Those are two big drivers to me as well, and Chris. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. I think that's quite common amongst people that pursue coaching as a profession. So yeah, thank you for that. Great questions, Annalisa. Thank you. Christian asked you're welcome. Christian asked a question, Chris, for you about, he said, what I love about coaching is we're learning ourselves the most out of any session. And he asked, Chris, did you get any insights out of this session?
No. I really enjoyed coaching Debs, actually. I haven't coached her one-to-one for a little while. So yeah, it was good. Just my insight was just how much I enjoyed doing this.
Love that. Peter said about my decision matrix that it's quite an auditory. It's quite an auditory digital decision. It's interesting, Peter, because I rarely go back to that matrix, but a lot of my clients find it useful. And you talked about, whether it's, do you make more of an auditory thing, which particularly, being an accountancy background, you're used to analysing and kind of justifying or logical decisions. And you talk about the contrast between that and the kinesthetic or process feeling. Actually, if I may, I don't know if you've got audio, Peter, I'll unmute you for this bit, because a lot of what I do now is what I would call intuitive or more kinesthetic decisions. So I tend to, if it feels right, what I'm looking to do in my businesses is close the gap between thought, or not actually necessarily thought, but an intuitive feeling and action. So trying to close the gap between the two. So staying less in overthinking. But I'd love to get your input, Peter. Obviously, you're highly successful accountancy business, and obviously you're transitioning into coaching it. By the way, if some people on this call or listening to this recording are interested in creating that new coaching business, Peter for me is a kind of a bit of a role model for how to do it. So yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more about the decision making stuff from you, Peter, but also maybe you want to describe briefly about how you've transitioned into coaching while already being a successful business owner.
Yeah, that's kind of you to say, Rich. Thank you very much. For me, it was kind of around identity, really, where I've been an accountant for all these years and never really felt that was my identity. I've kind of felt like I wasn't in the right skin almost. And because I'm very much a people person, and accountancy is generally a task-based kind of business. So for me, it's been around looking around my identity and kind of seeing how it can work. And I've kind of made the accountancy business into more of a people kind of business. And therefore, the stretch into coaching was a kind of logical stretch for me, really, which has come through self-development. So I started around self-development, again, through an unhappy identity. I kind of stumbled across Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, and that kind of got me going on the self-development front. Stumbled upon NLP then, so I became an NLP practitioner. And through there found coaching, really. And I feel coaching is just so me. It just feels, it sits so really nicely with my identity. It excites me. It's the thing in life that kind of gives me a buzz. And yeah, just love it, Rich. And as you know, I'm kind of transitioning, and it's working really nicely for me. So I'm looking to move out of the accountancy business in time. So I've got a management buyout in the process, and move full time into coaching over the next year or two. You and Chris are a massive help to me, and I know we're going to be working quite a lot together. Over the next however many years. and it's fantastic. You know, I can't speak too highly of you guys. You've been a massive help to me, and I'm sure a massive help to the rest of the guys on the call here. Lovely to hear Deb's there. I just heard so much of myself in what Debs was saying there, which was really nice. You know, about value. You know, I think we've got kind of similar values as well, and you know, she's trying to transition, or she is transitioning from another career, from what I picked up there. And I love the way that for her it's not about money, it's about service, which I kind of picked up very strongly from that. And I think it's great what you two guys are doing, you know, trying to encourage so many coaches, and there's a massive demand for excellent coaches. You know, I find that more and more in my journey, that there's such a demand for coaching. There's very few people who can't be helped through coaching, and a lot of them don't realise that until you have that powerful conversation with them. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do, just a wonderful talent to have, and a wonderful thing to be able to give back to society. And I just think you two guys are doing a fantastic job in providing society with excellent coaches. So well done.
I tell you what, Chris, you invite quality people onto a webinar, you get unsolicited testimonials. Fantastic, isn't it?
And it's
You're recording this, aren't you? You got a video testimonial there.
I know we wanted to wrap up by 10, Peter, but I think you just carry on, mate.
You know me, Chris, I'll be here all night if you...
Oh, brilliant.
You've touched, really appreciate those kind words, Peter. And you've touched on the reason why, why Rich and I do this work, and why we do the work with coaches as well, because you are right, the UK does need really great quality coaches. So. Absolutely.
Just makes a massive difference to so many people's lives, you know, and I'm sure you and Rich kind of think about the people's whose lives you've touched. And by doing this, you're kind of leveraging that, you know, you're leveraging it and allowing more and more lives to be touched by the power of coaching, which is just a wonderful thing to do. I mean, I'm kind of interested, and I had a conversation with Rich earlier to know kind of what your guys' visions are really around coaching. So, you know, is your vision around coaching? Is it around providing the next generation of coaching? I'm kind of interested in your guys' drivers really around that. You know, I think that's interesting, because obviously the more you're working with apprentices, the less coaching you'll personally be able to do. And are you kind of okay with that?
If I leave Chris, he'll just sit there and just be in silence for a while. So I could let him do that and buy myself time, but I'll jump in really. So actually, Annalisa, you touched on something earlier on, which is legacy, which is what I want to leave behind. So I'm aware that through one-to-one coaching, and most of my coaching probably is with business owners, entrepreneurs, execs, that sort of level of person, that as I become more successful with my coaching practice, I'm also aware that, you know, I've got a choice. I could cap where I'm at in terms of levels and income and stuff, but you know, I'm also aware that would fight my natural instinct for growth. Yeah. And so I have a keen awareness that, you know, my fees are going up, and therefore I'm moving away from a whole subset of people that maybe, you know, in the past I absolutely loved coaching. So I've actually made a sort of quite a clear decision now, which is I'm going to very deliberately step into the space of mentoring coaches, first on a one-to-one basis. So you know what, that I'm a big believer in creating value and delivering value. And my first example of social proof is Chris, who went from, you know, relatively low levels of coaching as a part-time thing in conjunction with his thing to becoming a six-figure sterling coach. And I'll say it out loud because he probably wouldn't boast about it, but in October generated 49 grand's worth of coaching business, of which 39 grand was cash.
Fantastic.
And so my outcome is to work one-to-one with a number of apprentice coaches. So I want them to have that level of success, because then they can serve out. And you know what? I'm more than happy for them to have their own apprentices and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Where, you know, there's enough clients out there for coaches to earn really good income if they understand what the process is.
Yeah.
And then alongside that, we're developing this secret business of coaching thing, which is what I love doing. In fact, it's a favourite bit of work I've done all year, which is working with Chris, a mastermind with coaches to help them develop their business, but in a group format. And then Chris and I are in the process of writing a book as well. Mm-hmm. So it was a very deliberate decision for me to take a step back and go, that legacy piece, that impact piece, what actually is going to be the most fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
And for me, it was creating something that actually a legacy that could roll on when neither Chris or I are here.
Yeah.
And it's very much built. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Rich. And I recognise that in my accountancy business. So, my accountancy business, I've kind of mentored, trained the next generation, which, as you know, we're then going to have the management buyout in 3 years' time. But that's been easy for me because I don't really like accounting. And so that's been easy for me to do that. But from a coaching point of view, I could never imagine the day when I wouldn't be doing any coaching because I love coaching. And therefore it's kind of for you, and I know you love coaching as well. So it's kind of, I guess, giving up some of that time to coach to mentor the next kind of generation, if you like, isn't it? And that'd be okay for you.
Yeah, it's right. And I'm also aware that, there's a lot of stuff out there and it's totally legitimate you're making all your coaching income from coaching other coaches. And I don't want to be totally in that space. So it's always going to be this, I'll have 10 apprentices next year. And then I'll work with various clients that I've worked with on a long-term basis and other interesting ones that come up because I like the variety piece. And to give credit where credit's due, all of this is built on primarily the philosophies of Rich Litvin, Steve Chandler, the Prosperous Coach book. Yeah. Creating a coaching business through service, building a business the right way, high integrity, high value. So I can't say enough thanks to those guys, and also kind of another person in that environment, Steve Hardison, who's the most incredible coach. And so I guess Chris and I are very aware there's a massive movement in the US around coaching, which is great for us because it's coming here. Yeah, people earning great money as a coach, people understanding the value of a coach.
Yeah.
And it's coming to the UK, continental Europe. Obviously, I know we've got people from around there as well. I'm speaking to people in Australia and New Zealand. That wave will come to them as well.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a tremendous opportunity for people who are very service orientated.
Yeah.
To really, I remember having a conversation many years ago. I'll let Chris have a speak in a minute. I got my ranting horse now. I had a conversation many years ago with a friend of mine who's a therapist. She's a counsellor in schools. I was chairman of the charity for her that provided counselling into schools for kids. And there's a strong belief in that group that, there's almost earning decent money from doing stuff like that is almost slightly dirty. And it's like, well, ultimately what that means is that people who can't earn money through service end up sabotaging their lives and then can't serve anyway because they're focusing so much on their money problems. So that's one of my drives, is that I know there's loads of really great coaches out there, but they're not being taught how to do the business side. And I know we've got a couple on here that are getting it right, and that's fantastic news. And that's kind of my obsession at the moment is, growing a coaching business, hands down the hardest thing I've ever done. I've had very fortunate to have success in many different areas in my life. The coaching business, hardest one, definitely the most rewarding one. I think I've managed to shorten down the process for Chris, who then has taken that on and is taking it on to another level and has now inspired me in terms of my own income. So I think that wide bit. So I appreciate you asking the question, Peter, and I'm going to let Chris have his say, given we've got 3 minutes left.
All right, okay.
Standard.
Finish into 3 minutes, surely.
Standard form for Rich, that is, yeah. The reason I don't say much when I coach is because I haven't got an opportunity to. Great question, Peter. And I could just say what Rich said. That would be the quick answer. I'll add a few things. Like Rich, I'm also working with more and more apprentices, and there's several reasons. One reason is the legacy reason, because you are genuinely creating or helping to create very well-rounded coaches out in the world that then go on impact on their own clients. So in terms of a network, of a tree diagram, so to speak, you know, it is a great way to impact more people to actually work with. And there's one on this call tonight. He shows promise. Does young Siwash. So that's the first thing, yeah. And that's I love working with. I've got 2 currently, but like Rich, I'm increasing the number of apprentices that I work with. I don't think I ever want to get to the position where I'm just working with coaches, but my business is shifting more towards working with coaches. And the reason why is because when you work with a coach, there is obviously the coaching of the human being in front of you, but there's also the mentorship element, because you're running a business very similar to the one that they are running. And also there's the supervision element as well, whereby they get to bring their own client questions to the conversation. And it's not really until only until hindsight, when Rich and I look back over the service we've given the TSBOC group this year, and the questions have been asked and so on, that we realized that those 3 elements, believe it or not, were very strong. And hence the reason for running these 3 webinars as well. So the coaching one tonight, the developing your coaching skills through supervision, bringing your own questions about your own clients. That one's next Wednesday. And then the mentorship one, which is about how to build a $100,000 plus coaching business, or grow your business.
Pounds, Chris, pounds.
November. What's that?
Pounds, mate, not dollars.
Did I say dollars?
Yeah.
That's because my latest apprentice is from Washington, DC, and my kids are taking the mick out of me.
By any chance? He's from Washington DC, isn't it? No.
Who's that?
It's not Mr. Trump, is it? Your latest apprentice? Because he lives in Washington DC.
No, it's definitely not. So yeah, so those 3 elements are strong, and yeah, that's why I love working with coaches. So yeah, that's
right. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Peter. Right, better wrap it up, I suppose, really. So let me do a few sort of shout outs, really. Thanks for all the great questions tonight. Thanks to Deb for being a plucky volunteer. Thanks to Chris for being an inspiration to me about what deep coaching's about. I will just point out a couple of things, one of which is, so next Wednesday we've got more of a session for coaches. So if you want to ask questions about, I've been doing this with a client, or maybe you can bring some ideas about, how you've been coaching clients that have been working really well, or asking Chris and I and the rest of the group about different ways that you could coach a client given different circumstances. We probably will ask questions in advance of that session. So it'll be much more of an interactive session. And then the Tuesday after, probably the one that's might well get significant interest for coaches, is how to create that £100,000 a year plus coaching business through service, very much through the Rich Litvin, Steve Chandler, Prosperous Coach concepts. I put an email on there if you want to contact us. So if you want guides around, choosing a coach, and it might well not be me or Chris. We're both pretty full at the moment, which is a nice problem to have. But we've got a group of coaches now who we know are fantastic coaches. But also, if you just want guidance as to where to find a coach, what questions to ask, email us there or contact us on Facebook. So it's the secret business of coaching @gmail.com. Or if you've got questions around developing your own coaching business, you want to have a conversation with us. We're basically people that appear live on these Zoom webinars. Chris and I are very happy to have sort of half-hour conversation with you about whether you're looking for a coach or whether you want to grow your coaching business. And I'll make that very clear. It's just the people that come on live because it's easy to register and then not come on. And you guys are giving us an hour and a half of your time. So if that is for you, then contact us on Facebook or send us an email. And I'll hand over to my partner in crime, who genuinely none of this would be possible without him. So my coach, I'm his coach. I'm his coach. he's my coach. I don't know how that works, but it works well. Handing over to Chris Joseph for the final word, because otherwise you'll never get one in edge race.
I think you summed it up, Rich. You know, you just covered all the bases. I'd really love to thank everybody who's come on tonight and given up. You said hour and a half. It's actually 2 hours now of their time, but not given up. You've invested your time, and I hope that you've got some reward from that investment tonight. I hope that that little bit of coaching with Debs give you a flavour of one approach to coaching. And thank you for the questions. They've been great. Yeah, I would reiterate, please get in touch with Rich and I if we can serve you in any other way. We'd be glad to do that. And hopefully see you next Wednesday for the session on supervision, we've called it, but it's really bringing your questions. Yeah, your questions about your own coaching practice, maybe what's shown up with you with your clients. The chance to throw those in the mix, and I was going to say we'll give answers, we'll respond. It's up to you to determine if it's an answer or not.
Brilliant, thanks mate. Thanks for all the kind comments as well for everyone. Yeah, if you liked it, we're going to run more of these deep coaching sessions on a regular basis, and probably actually we'll run combinations of all 3 webinars on a regular basis. So if you liked it, would appreciate you sharing the message and letting more people know, because we're on you may have gathered on a bit of a mission, and it's been great to see people of the quality of yourselves, and I know many of you personally. We really appreciate you spending the time with us today. So over and out. We've actually stayed vaguely on time tonight, so that's good. And we'll see many of you next week, or if not the week after. We'll be posting all the details up, and look forward to seeing you then. Bye all. I will sign out now. Cheers out. Bye.
Good night, everyone.